Hello, today we'll have yet another long-awaited review that probably should be released a bit earlier, but unfortunately mail is really slow now and local custom officers are even more slow, so I got this parcel late, but still it's better than never. It's my excuse for such circumstances. And today we will talk about the HiBy new version of their R6 player. Basically, as you can see by the caption on the box, they wanted to call it the new R6, but later they've decided to name it R6 2020 edition to simplify the distinguishing of this player from the two previous generations. If you remember, first R6 was their first dep released in 2017, if I remember right. It gathered a lot of attention and it stated that HiBy is not only software manufacturers but also a hardware company now. Then was R3, R3 Pro, R5, R6 Pro, and of course their flagship R8 that I reviewed not so long ago. And actually R6 2020 version in terms of design is based on their R8, meaning their shift from the smooth shapes with rounded edges towards the more masculine design. In terms of hardware, it's still a really good player. It uses now dual 9038 Saber chips, mobile version if I remember right, but still it's a pretty good solution. Amplification is similar to the previous version in terms of power, delivering up to 750 milliwatts for 32 ohms load from balanced output, but they reworked it, making output impedance lower, and the background noise was also improved. Also, they've improved the chipset. Now it's Snapdragon 660 and now it runs Android 9. So basically really good specifications for the nowadays player's world. And the price is $800 and let's have a closer look. So I've got a case to visit, but let's unpack it a bit later. So here is the package. It's small and actually I like the small packages now with good polygraphy, interesting gold foiling and some basic information, mainly address and so on. As usual in this outer wrap there is inner box. Let me put it aside. It opens double folded and here we'll get the player itself, and here is the accessory set. So biggest pack of silica gel I have seen, and USB-C cable, and nice addition, it's a USB-C to coaxial output cable if you want to connect the player to some other digital tone-off converter. And also here you will get manual and the protective screen. So accessory set is basic and you'll need to order case separately, but nowadays it's kind of traditional approach. So in terms of design, player is really stylish and looks nice. It's definitely reminding his bigger brother R8, but it's much smaller, much more portable, so smaller in every single dimension. So you can see that it's thinner, shorter, narrower, but still using almost the same screen and giving a good interesting design. So HiBy definitely have their own design language and that's it. It's made of aluminum, no stainless steel version, at least for now, but we'll see, maybe there will be more limited editions in the future. It feels really good in hand, and actually it's really nice as a portable player, at least at my scale. So here is a slot for micro SD cards. This time they decided not to use tray loading or something like that. So let's probably, no, I will peel it later, as I have to put the protective screens instantly. And on the top side there is encoder, really good with well-defined clicks. On the right side there is on-off button. I will press it so it will start booting up. LED indicator and 3 buttons for navigation and play pause. They are really good, they have well-defined clicks, really easy to find, nice and solid feel, and also what is good, what this angled form does, you can't accidentally press them if you hold it. And on the bottom there are lot of output, so you can see there is headphones output, single-ended and balanced, here used Pentacon connector, and the line output, also both single-ended and Pentacon, so it has balanced line out, nice touch. And USB-C, it can be used for charging, to use it as a digital to analog converter, to connect external drives, to use it as a digital transport, both via USB audio or via coaxial. So pretty universal. It supports of course quick charge and all other standards, and about work time it's from 7 to 8 hours from the balanced output, and above 10 hours usually from the single-ended output. Of course it depends on usage of screen and wireless interfaces, but it's like good average numbers. And here is the main screen. It's not the maximum brightness, so nice screen, good resolution, really well response to touches, everything is done nicely. Screen is almost edge to edge, so bezels are really narrow, so pretty good screen with nice picture, good viewing angles, and bright enough to be visible even under the bright sun. So in terms of design, player is really good and probably one of the best looking in the world of modern devs. So I've checked, they have a protective screen installed out from the factory, so we can do it right now instantly, and I really like companies that install protective screens themselves. I usually fail doing that myself. Some small bubble need to be pushed aside, and that's it. So, and case, let's see what we've got here. It's not Dignis case, but something done in a really similar style and looks pretty fancy. Nice, good leather, R6 on the back side, so pretty sleek design. You can see that player fits well here. Everything is protected from all sides, so pretty good accessory, so I really recommend ordering it instantly with player itself. In terms of sound, it's almost basic pure Android 9 with few additions that HiBy added to improve the audio listening experience. So few additional icons here, so you can get quickly to the audio settings. Here you can select one of low pass filters, you can select gains. There are 3 levels and it's a good touch. You can install system-wide plugins for the sound. I showed them. It's some CrossFit plugin and 2 additionals, but none of them actually worth big attention. What is more important, what is better here, they've installed their MSEB, Magic Street 8 Ball or something like that. They installed this software tweaking utility system-wide, so you can change the sound not only in their own player but in the overall system. So it's a good for those who like, for example, streaming media. If you turn it on, you can see the small operation guide. I don't need it, Basically, it's just a way to tailor sound to your liking, using not equalizer with where you need to think what frequency I need to change in order to achieve better sound, but you operate the items like overall temperature, bass extension, texture, note thickness, sibilance, and so on. So you can change them back and forth, and it's a good and easy way to tweak the sound. And what is more important here, it doesn't spoil the sound much as the implementation of equalizers in some systems. Also here you can get the DSD gain compensation, channel balance, and max volume. Also here HiBy implemented their own, if I remember right, DTA architecture that allows different applications access the digital to analog converter without and skip the Android mixture and resampling here. So it was hard for me to formulate this. Also, there is a possibility to use it as a Bluetooth receiver and so on, but of course biggest, most important part here is HiBy Music, built-in player that many people will use. It's Android, and Play Store is installed here, so you can easily install UAPP or some other player, but I think the vast majority of users will use HiBy. And there are 3 screens in this player. Middle one is the media library. It consists of 3 chapters or 3 parts, so you can see all the tracks in one. You can browse them by folders, by albums, by artist, by genre, by album artist, and private cloud to access few additional network services. And in all these lists you can multi-select items, you can add them to playlist and do all that typical manipulations. Also there are playlists, favorites, recently added, and custom playlists. And HiBy Link, you can use it as both client and server, so you can use it to remote control other device with HiBy Music running. Now playing screen is nice, good, big album cover, additional information, so you can access additional menu, add playlist, equalizer, show album info, download lyrics and cover, and see the properties of this track. You can change the play GAUG to the circular one, or you can get it in a linear manner. And also there are pretty lot of options, so you can import music via Wi-Fi, scan for music, download manager, equalizer, additional instance of MSEB and plugin. It works the same way as system-wide, but just for the player, sleep timer, quick guide, about, and also settings. So I don't need this quick guide, but still have to see it if I miss the button. So show lyrics, pause when headphones are unplugged, tracks transitions, so you can select gapless, fade in, or just make pause between them. Replay gain, nice and useful feature if you need, if you have some compilations of tracks with different volume. Resume play from last position, play through folders and albums. High quality exclusive USB audio access if you use external DACs would be useful. USB output settings, so additional information. I like that HiBy added more granularity and control here. DSD mode, fixed output sampling rate, volume mode, if you connect some device you can change that. Language settings, font size, album cover display, should it download automatically cover and lyrics, sort list order, lock screen settings, notification settings, and error report. So a lot of options to tweak, but all of them are pretty self-explanatory. In terms of firmware, it's solid, it's well built, it's pretty smooth, so HiBy creating software for many years, and of course they used that code base for their dApps, creating good, stable, reliable firmware with almost all modern features. And of course about the sound, just to make picture better, I will use a unique melody mesh as an example of earphones in this video, but of course I did try it with many other models in my collection. In terms of sound, it's definitely the continuation of the new approach that HiBy introduced in their R8, and R8 was a big step aside from their signature sound, and R6 2020 continues that line, and I think it's a good change because they've decided to postpone their traditional warmer and treble relaxed sound and create more natural, more technical sounding model with better focus on the resolution and with less additional weight. So basically it's almost natural player, and if you don't like that, you can use MSEB to alter sound to whatever you like. And probably it's the best approach for the players that in terms of tuning. Or maybe there could be some others, but HiBy decided to select this one. And probably let's proceed with step-by-step description. So bass is natural, linear, with good resolution, with good control. It's impactful with maximum depth, without any attempts to add additional weight or to make it faster, to highlight some small nuances. So basically what is present in record and you will get, and it means that everything depends on the record and on the headphones. Maybe it's bad news for those who like more colored sound signature, but there are a lot of dApps in this price range that can offer that to you, or even in a more affordable price range, but HiBy is more natural and more technical. But if you want additional bass, you can boost it using headphones or using the equalizer if you'd like. But I'm a fan of natural representation from the sources, but not being too monitoring, and luckily R6 2020 isn't monitoring, isn't dry, isn't dull, because when it's necessary it has a good punch and impact, but just not trying to boost low frequencies. And as an example, I've got Musica Nuda. Well, example is pretty obvious, track Angeli, but it's a good double bass, really well recorded, and this player delivers all small nuances, and at the same time it's not exaggerating them, not trying to make this double bass bigger, don't trying to move it forward to change something, and such technical representation sounds pretty nicely. Mids are also on the natural side with a good resolution, just a slight hint of added weight, but just a little bit, not much. Resolution is good, it's not focused on the micro contrast, so it's not trying to be super analytical or focused on the micro contrast, and basically, you know, all players of this segment trying to do the same way with bit different representation, and at the same time it's not accenting macro dynamics and emotions, so it's also not trying to highlight that, and everything relies on the quality of records. With good records it will be technical, it will be saturated with small nuances and details, and it will be joyful and pleasant to listen. Imaginary stage is big and it's really good in building impressive stage, so source positioning and depth layering are done nicely. Also you will get nice correct timbres, you will get full-bodied vocals, but at the same time it won't add some additional weight. And example for the mid frequencies is Interstellar soundtrack. I really like it. Mountains, I could select every track, but usually I select mountains. I like how this track develops. It starts slowly and then increase the energy, increase the tension, and tutti at the end is just like explosion with tons of instruments, and that part requires a really good technical player that can separate all the small nuances, and R6 2020 do that pretty nicely. And treble is also good, almost natural, a bit actually it's not recessed and it's not softened, just a bit less energy put in the treble area to make sound a bit more polite, but still a good resolution, good control, normal layering, nice overtone saturation, just a slightly less energy. And you know, it also really reminds the R8. Basically they created really similar sound, just of different levels. In terms of representation, it's a good touch and a good idea to be consistent in the house sound, and that type of treble tweaking, treble tuning fits the overall representation of this player. It's not boosted, it's not softened, just basically normal treble being a bit politer. And as an example for the treble, I've got Pink Floyd Echoes, long track with a lot of percussions, interesting effects, and many other stuff. So pretty lot of things goes to the treble area, and this player plays that part really well, and that's pretty good for this segment. So to summarize sound once again, natural without trying to highlight something or boost, but at the same time controlling everything well, controlling bass nicely, being good on the mids, not too analytical or too monitoring, or at the same time too colored, and with nice technical treble, just a bit polite, but not much. I must underline that once again. And another good stuff, another good improvement of this player in the sonic area is the reworked amplifier, because now it works great with even the most sensitive in-ear monitors. I tried it with Andromeda, tried it with Solaris, with Ara, and the background noise is really low, giving you a nice, good, solid black background, and that makes notes even crisper and more highlighted, more realistic. Also, it's pretty good with full-size headphones, thanks to the big power, but to drive power-hungry cans you will need you will need to engage the balanced output. And of course, the most hard-to-drive planars won't be a good pairing with it, because it's still a portable player, not created to drive something like Abyss or, I don't know, Sandara. Or not Sandara, Suswara, what is that awfully insensitive model by Hi-Fi Man. And a few words about the compressions, what we've got. Basically this player overperforms previous R6 Pro by a noticeable margin, and it's a big improvement, big step forward towards more modern design, more modern sound, more natural, more recent Android, better firmware, so it's an improvement in almost every aspect. And probably you know, I think that HiBy should name it R7, but they've decided to stick their previous numeration. So it's an improvement over R6, and it really reminds R8 in terms of signature, but R8 more dynamic, more energetic, with even better treble performance, with better mids, so more natural, more realistic, so definitely step forward in terms of sound. In this price segment, what we've got, FIO M11 Pro, bit more linear on the treble, being a bit brighter, with a bit more monitoring representation. You know, I'm saying a bit a lot of times, but in this segment, difference between dubs isn't big. So FIO M11 Pro is more natural, Shenling M6 Pro a bit more fun, and basically this one, R6 2020, is in between them, a bit less natural but a bit less fun, so fitting perfectly that segment and delivering a really good value. So to summarize everything, HiBy created really competitive player, modern in every aspect, including the design and delivering nice good sound, so definitely a good improvement over the previous models. And I'm really waiting what, for example, FIO will create in near future, because basically M11 Pro is a bit outdated and it requires an update, but it's a question what chipsets and what digital to analog converters they will get for them. Anyway, R6 2020 is a step forward, and basically it will be the main staple of the HiBy model in this year, that's pretty sure, because they've really make it feature ready, and they put a lot of software efforts here, like MQA 16x and decoding and all that other stuff. Thank you for listening, thank you for your attention, and have a nice day.